Reporting from Ukraine update. Fierce fighting continues around Krinky on the eastern bank of the Dnipro River. Ukrainians have expanded their bridgehead there despite Russian attacks. Ukrainians have made advances into Krinky and the nearby forest, establishing footholds and observation posts. This threatens Russian supply lines. Russia has responded with heavy shelling, but it has not prevented Ukrainian advances. Ukraine is constantly reinforcing and resupplying its troops on the eastern bank, allowing them to withstand attacks and prepare further offensives. Russia has relatively few units defending the eastern bank, conserving forces for other fronts. This allows Ukraine's offensive to continue. Analysts say Ukraine aims to take the forest area to pave the way for further offensives toward the south. The situation favors further Ukrainian offensive action on the eastern bank of the Dnipro River. The United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense latest intelligence update on Ukraine, November 14, 2023. Russia has announced it will increase production of its Krasnopol M2 laser-guided artillery munitions and improve their performance in poor weather conditions. Russian artillery has had success using Krasnopol to accurately target individual Ukrainian vehicles. Russia's defense industry has been failing to produce enough conventional munitions, so increasing Krasnopol production is likely an attempt to use capacity more efficiently. Russia uses drones to designate Krasnopol targets by shining a laser beam at them. Low cloud cover has limited Krasnopol's performance because its laser detector doesn't have time to detect the laser energy and maneuver to strike. Russia will likely try to improve Krasnopol's flight performance and reduce its laser detection time. As winter approaches, Russia's access to improved precision munitions will likely be a key factor in its operational performance in Ukraine.
Broe update. Someone in Ukraine tricked Russian state media into falsely announcing that Russia was withdrawing troops from the Kherson region. This shows Russia's propaganda vulnerabilities. Ukraine is trying to cross the Dnipro River and establish a foothold between two villages to put pressure on Russian forces in the Kherson region. This is difficult terrain for Ukraine. Russia continues bloody and failed attacks trying to take Avdiivka. Videos show large numbers of dead Russian soldiers. Putin wants a military victory by December to boost his re-election campaign. He has begun enlisting surrogates to campaign for him. Without U.S. support, Ukraine may get desperate and develop nuclear weapons from their civilian reactors. This could expand the war if used. Germany is stepping up and may soon eclipse the U.S. as Ukraine's top supporter through aid and weapons. Ukraine's grain exports through the Black Sea continue despite Russia leaving the agreement. Ukraine is training pilots on F-16s, getting air defense systems and downing drones with new U.S. guns. The Institute for the Study of War Russian Offensive Campaign Assessment. Russian forces are attempting simultaneous offensive operations in eastern Ukraine, likely trying to regain momentum after recent Ukrainian successes. However, it's unclear if Russia can fully regain the initiative. Ukraine maintains that they still control the battle space, though the situation on the front lines is complex. The Avdiivka, Kupyansk, and Marinka directions are seeing the most intense fighting according to Ukraine's commander-in-chief. However, Ukraine continues offensive actions in unspecified sectors. Russia is particularly focused on regaining initiative north and south of Bakhmut, according to Ukraine's ground forces commander. Ukraine reports increased Russian assaults near Kupyansk, Avdiivka, and Donetsk. The Institute for the Study of War key takeaways today. Ukraine says its forces have established a foothold on the east bank of the Dnipro River in Kherson Oblast, giving them another foothold in the region after Russia's retreat. Putin approved changes to Russia's election laws that increase Kremlin control over elections and reduce transparency, likely aimed at the 2024 presidential elections. Russia conducted more strikes against Ukrainian rear areas overnight using missiles, aircraft, and drones. Ukraine's Western partners announced new efforts to provide military and financial aid. Russia appears to be trying to force Google to cease operations in the country.
Ukraine's Armed Forces General Staff update. The war in Ukraine continues on day 629 with fighting across multiple fronts and axes. Russia conducted 57 combat engagements, 4 missile strikes, 42 air strikes, and 26 multiple launch rocket system attacks against Ukrainian positions. Russia's attacks caused civilian casualties. The situation remains active in eastern and southern Ukraine. Russia maintains military presence along the border and continues reconnaissance and shelling from its territory. Russia conducted failed assaults in various locations which were repelled by Ukrainian forces. Russia heavily shelled numerous settlements with artillery and mortars across the Donetsk, Luhansk, Kharkiv, Zaporizhia, and Kherson regions. Ukraine conducted 10 air strikes against Russian targets, and air defense shot down Russian drones and a cruise missile. Ukraine's missile forces struck Russian concentrations of troops, command posts, artillery, air defense, and a fuel depot. Ukraine continues offensive operations in the south towards Melitopol and defensive operations near Bakhmut, inflicting losses on Russian forces.